This scene we've been shooting since Monday. It is now Wednesday.
The ball days are always like the big days on set. I knew how demanding it was going to be, that I was going to be in almost every day.
And then you're filming for like 12 hours.
Shall I have a vodka? No, there's no time. Have a cup of tea, go to bed, and do it on repeat.
Hello, I'm Luke Newton. Come and join me shooting a day on Bridgerton.
Today's date is the 22nd of...
Today's date?
Could be December right now.
Hell knows.
January the 83rd.
Today's date is the 22nd of February, 2023.
We're filming the scene number.
I believe it might be scene 33, part 5.
We are filming episode 8.
Which is the final episode of season 3.
And we are currently at the butterfly ball.
It is the butterfly ball, do you want to say that?
Oh yeah, that's a great answer. Yeah, thanks. That's terrible. I know all of my lines.
We have been filming since July.
Almost the full year.
Since I was 12, and I'm now 46. And as you can tell, I'm dealing with it incredibly well.
It's the final ball, like the final ball. It's in typically over-the-top Featherington fashion. There's a lot of pieces to cover, and we've got like 40 cast, maybe like 150 supporting actors, and then all the crew. So the ball days are always like the big days on set.
My day begins with a little morning cry. And then I get to work. Someone brings me a coffee. It's outrageous the way I get treated, actually. In a way that's brilliant.
Quick breakfast, get into the chair, hair and makeup, get dressed or go to block first, then come back and get dressed.
I got up at 6:30. I'm in hair and makeup for about 3 hours. It takes a million years because I'm in a corset.
And then I go and see one of my best mates, who's my makeup artist. She's very good. This is not me. I look like a foot.
You can't see it because I'm wearing my Bluntstones at the moment, my proper boots. This is a wig. I have this much hair in real life, and this is tight across my arms. This one's quite loose, but usually my arms can go like, and then I can't get them any higher than that. And then eventually you get called to set.
And then we start bloody acting. I hope I can say bloody, because I've said it twice now.
And my day will end when I get home at about 10:30, 11:15. Shall I have a vodka? No, there's no time. Have a cup of tea, go to bed, and do it on repeat.
This scene we've been shooting, I think since Monday. It is now Wednesday.
Since God was a boy, we've been filming this scene.
We have 4 days here. The challenge, of course, is having everybody in here and actors complaining when they're not in scenes, why they have to be in the background. But this is Bridgerton Balls and what it is.
This is like Ultimate Jenga on steroids. You have about 8 scenes held within the frame of one ball. We could be having a scene, and behind us we have the rest of the ton are here. We're shooting on me, the ton is doing this way. If we shoot something from another point, we have to get you and me in the background. So you have to see everything in 360 degrees, in 4D all the time. For Tom Verica, who's directing, it's the ultimate crazy mind game.
Once I had the script, I started shot listing, plotted kind of where all of our actors are. So if I can isolate a character off or be over a character and work them into editing later on, I have to break all that down.
I think the hardest thing about shooting these sequences is that we can jump in at different parts of the ball. For example, today we've jumped in towards the end. Yesterday we started sort of earlier.
We have 3 cameras going. We don't normally have 3 cameras going, but we need it for this because the amount of coverage that we need to get.
Put it together and the edit, and it'll come together.
Yeah, it's a real collaborative effort from all departments, really.
And it's a totally different experience filming this series as a supporting character to a lead character. I knew how demanding it was going to be, that I was going to be in almost every day. I think I knew I had to really just get my head in it.
These times can be quite challenging because there's a lot of waiting around.
Conservation of energy is very, very important. Knowing when to bring the fun and then also when to just key into what's happening.
You have to very much support the other actors. It feels like one big family having everyone in. You had the Bridgertons, the Featheringtons, Lady Danbury, the Queen.
Well, as someone who deals with crippling social anxiety, mostly it's just the overwhelming amount of people in a space. That's the hardest bit for me. And that's a really selfish answer. But the crew deal with it really well.
I prepare well in advance. I'm working with the production designer, with our DP. We kind of see what our parameters are.
What's amazing about being at these balls is seeing the amount of detail that's gone into every element of the design, whether it's the food, the room, whether it's the costumes, whether it's the hair, whether it's the makeup. You can really see that the team have come together to create something beautiful on a colossal scale.
I had an idea for a visual effects roof, so we're putting a glass dome on this, which is not here. And then we talked about the stage, and I wanted a little raised stage in the middle of the room. The Queen enters, and then Penn ultimately reveals her moment here, and I wanted her to be up on the stage a little bit. Thematically, metaphorically, it's about her stepping into the light and finding her voice.
We thought about the floor treatment and the fact that from an overhead shot it would look a bit like an optical illusion. It gives her gravitas, but at the same time she's sort of caged by the columns that surround her, but she's breaking free, and that all plays into that final speech, really. We looked at the Featherington characters and what we've done in the past for them.
It's a real explosion of colour, this one, isn't it? It's Regency pumped up, but it's also, for the Featheringtons, it's pumped up as well, because they've got this in-your-face, bold colour palette.
We can tweak the knob up to number 11, really, because we're in the world of Bridgerton.
First thing we wanted to do was take Penelope away from the Regency line. We wanted to move her a little bit into the future, and we wanted to definitely give her a waistline. That was done by George's innovation of
1950s waspies and a wonder bra.
Yeah. It has the feel of Regency, but it's fantasy. We come up with any silhouette we like, any period that we like, that looks good on the actor and for the character. With Penelope, George gave her a nice 1950s Marilyn Monroe shape. She still looks Regency, she still looks period, but it's a subtle change that people that love her character won't think it's a huge change.
When we have her initial transformation at the Four Seasons ball, she came out with quite a strong colour. The whole ball ends up going really badly for her, so her colour palette goes straight down. This is her coming back out at the end, so we've got a stronger colour again.
We always like to go out with a bang, and working with John, who's the costume designer, you tend to really do that. And because he does that, I am allowed, with both the hair and the makeup, to go pretty moody, I would say. I think it feels a little bit like a cabaret. We've got quite strong colors. Even some of the men has got makeup. With Penelope, my inspiration was a very old, glamorous Hollywood. Rita Hayworth, definitely. And then I think a little bit of Jessica Rabbit, actually. Iconic. We got the red lips as well for her speaking out to everybody and telling everyone that she's Lady Whistledown.
The butterflies, the visual effect element, that requires a lot of kind of conceiving ahead of time. That's what a lot of these actors here are reacting to, which nobody knows what it's going to look like yet. So my biggest surprise will be once we kind of layer in that last piece.
I think a lot of this season is Penelope realising she can no longer sort of separate her two identities, who she truly is and Lady Whistledown, that they're one and the same person. And in order for her to live her truth and for people to really accept her, she has to accept that within herself and present herself to society. So she takes a sort of terrifying move to write to the Queen and tell her, you know, I am Lady Whistledown and I want a chance to explain myself. So she sort of comes up in front of all these people, which is something Penelope would never normally do, and say, this is why I did what I did, and you can accept me or not, but this is what's happened. So it's like a huge moment for her.
Hello, all. Or should I say, dearest gentle readers?
Penelope speaking her truth is probably the most fabulous thing. We all have our own internal narratives going. And if she's made the internal narrative one of, my voice is never heard and I have to stay in the background, and the only way I get heard is when I write as this sort of fake version of me, Lady Whistledown, when she owns her own narrative and goes, I am that powerful and front-footed woman within the body of this shy, retiring person that society has made me. She owns the truth of all of who she is. As a notion, philosophically, that's what we all want to do. We want to go, this is who I am. I'm not going to have to fake it because society doesn't like me being who I am. I'm just going to own who I am. I'm giving myself goosebumps. Marvellous.
No one has ever taken any part of me seriously. I only realise now how common that feeling must be. To be a young lady to whom no one listens.
I don't know that there's ever been a 2-page monologue in this show. That's a lot of words to say all together. And also, for the character, someone like Penelope would find it so intimidating to stand up in front of 200 people.
I wrote about all of you because I was captivated by you. Living your lives so out in the open. And in writing about all of you, I suddenly felt as if I had a life. I had power.
It felt like a really momentous thing, and you know, seeing Eloise in the audience and seeing Lady Featherington and the Queen being there, and she speaks to Lady Danbury for the first time on screen. I'm sure that off screen they've spoken, but Adjo and I were saying it's so funny, in 3 seasons we've never had a conversation.
You knew it was me?
I suspect it. You are not the only lady of the town who can keep a secret.
Something in Julia Quinn's books is that Lady Danbury and Penelope are really good friends, so it's really nice to have that. I hope it's only the start of that relationship. That would be very fun.
Pen, ever since I found out you are Whistledown, I've done everything I can to try to separate you from her.
Colin and Penelope meet towards the end of the ball, and they're both on different pages at this point. It's quite an emotional scene. There's lots of honest feelings. It's a really beautiful moment towards the end of the story.
Luke and I have had that advantage of having worked with one another for 2 seasons previously, so having that groundwork there was really beautiful to come in and build on. We spoke today about, filming episode 8 as opposed to episode 1. We're like, it's been 8 months, so it's such an intense process, but I think the best thing has been having Luke as a partner within it, and having someone that's as invested in the characters and gives as much time and care makes it just like a fantastic process.
I love you. You're a very good man, Mr. Bridgerton.
I love you.
Bridgerton's such a big world. I feel like we're custodians of the Bridgerton love story for a time, and we'll pass it on to the next people, but I take the responsibility seriously, and I know these books have been beloved for like 20 odd years, so I want to, honour them as much as I can and get it right for the fans.
I've got to go. You see all these people going in, I'm being called back to Video Village, so I got to go direct to CBS.
Hopefully you've gotten enough time with everybody.
Morning.
Wrap her up. Thank you and sorry. I'm so tired. Oh, fucking delete this.